11 more hostages are now free as the temporary truce between Israel and Hamas holds for a 5th day. A total of 69 hostages have been released so far, with more expected to be released tomorrow. This is an Israeli source says Israel is open to extending the 6-day ceasefire even further. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman is in Tel Aviv, Israel, with more on the emotional reunions.
This is the moment these Israeli hostages walk their final steps in the hands of Hamas and into Red Cross vans as part of a 4-day ceasefire agreement, which both sides have now agreed to extend for at least 2 more days. The Red Cross truck here seeing leaving Gaza and entering Israel. Of the 11 released, 2 women and 9 children, all in stable condition, including 16-year-old Sahar Calderon and her 12-year-old brother, Erez. When we met their mother, Hadass, last week, she was shattered. And after the news her children were coming home, and new details today of the hostages' life in captivity.
They still were locked up in a rat hole.
That's Shahar Moore, his family released over the weekend, saying they were not physically harmed, but their captivity was punctured by boredom and fear of Israeli airstrikes. The White House saying at least 9 Americans are still held captive in Gaza. The only one released so far, 4-year-old Abigail Idan, seen in these photos just hours after reconnecting with her family. At least 69 hostages have been freed by Hamas since the ceasefire began. In exchange, Israel releasing 150 Palestinian prisoners. Some, the Israeli government says, convicted of violent crimes. Others were being held without charges. Their families celebrating their return home in the West Bank. Back in Gaza, the UN saying there are over 1 million people in its shelters, nearly 15,000 killed, according to the Hamas-run health ministry.
And Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman joins me now from the hospital in Tel Aviv, Israel, where hostages are being treated. Matt, a U.S. official has confirmed to ABC News now that the CIA director has returned to Qatar for meetings on the Israel-Hamas war, including discussions on hostages and the hope for more releases. What more do you know about these talks to extend this truce even further?
Director Burns is there, Diane, as is his counterpart in the Israeli Mossad. They are discussing, along with Qatari counterparts. The U.S. is involved in this, Egypt as well. A possible, prolongation, a continued process through which more hostages can be released. That would be, I think, separate from this 4-day truce plus the 2-day addition. And what they're going to start talking about is not just the women and children that we've been seeing released so far, 69 in total, 50 Israelis and 19 people with other foreign nationalities, but also the men, the elderly men, also bodies. So it gets a lot more complex from here, and they're trying to build a mechanism whereby they can go forward. The big question is, what happens after tomorrow? We expect the release to happen again today. That would be the 5th day. The 6th day is scheduled for tomorrow, but what happens when that is over? Israel has said it will commence its war against Hamas, not gradually, but immediately and ferociously. So time is ticking for Director Burns to try to get something going before Israel starts up again.
Now, I know you spoke to families of the hostages released. I cannot imagine the emotions going on in those moments. What are they telling you?
There are stories of these incredible reunions of families and mothers holding on to their children, gripping them so tight, unwilling to let go. The things the kids wanted to eat for the first time. We heard from Hadass Calderon, whose son Erez, 12, and his sister Sahar, 16, just got back last night. And the first thing they wanted to eat is yogurt with granola. They were just desperate to have some sense of home. But we also heard that they had been very, very hungry. Lots of people describing the hunger that they experienced in captivity, eating 1 pita bread a day. That was all they had, especially towards the end. Some people talking about even less than that. And there was a lot of fear as well. Families describing their loved ones living in terror of Israeli airstrikes. Not only that they would be killed in an Israeli airstrike, but that their captors who were out and about would be killed, and then they would be locked in the dungeon where they were kept in and starved to death. So there was this constant terror, also boredom. One of the families we spoke to was just 3 of them with a 9-year-old boy locked in a room where they were not allowed to talk for long periods of time, not allowed to move lest people find out that they are there. And it was just very hard keeping that 9-year-old still. So they they played a deck of cards until they said they completely wore it out. So lots of these stories are coming out. It doesn't seem that anybody was specifically physically abused, but obviously 51, 52 days in captivity, people are coming back having lost 10 to 15% of their body weight. And I just mentioned Hadass Calderon. Her best friend Edna has been with her every step of the way. Let's hear what she had to say about that homecoming.
They saw a TV that is open, and then they saw Hadass, and they know that she is alive.
That was the first time they knew that she was alive. They saw her by chance on TV in Gaza.
Yes, and they said when they come that our mother is a brave woman, because they saw her and they know that she fight for them.
And so they saw her fighting on TV.
Yes, they said it was a protest, and she got a speech there, and they didn't understand because it translated to Arabic, but they saw her, so they know she's alive.
And just to explain, Hadass was in the same kibbutz that her family, that her kids were in that day, but they had been separated, and the kids didn't know if her mother had survived the attack, and that was the first time that they understood that. Diane.
All right, Matt Gutman in Tel Aviv, Israel. Matt, thank you. Incredible stories there.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.